Hi, this is Eric Segal from Data Collaborative. In this QuickBase news flash, we'll cover a characteristic of QuickBase security that you should definitely be aware of. In any application like this one, where somebody can have more than one role, there is the potential for a user to have access to information that you don't wish them to have access to. Let's take a look at an example. In this example, I'm running a pie contest, and anybody can get online and go to this application and add a new recipe. They don't have to have a QuickBase account. They can enter the name of the recipe, the content of the recipe, they can save it, and then they go back to the dashboard. Because I've set up their permissions so that they can view no recipes and modify no recipes. They can only add them. Now I didn't bother to set what fields they have access to, because after all, if they can't view any records and they can't modify any, what difference does it make what fields they have access to? Well, in fact, it does make a difference, as we will see in a minute. I've also set up a role for the printers, the people who will print the program for the contest. Since recipes are very secret, they are still not allowed to see the recipe. They can just see the name, and so they're going to print up a program that just lists the names of the pies. So you can see here, I've given them view access to the name, but no access at all to the content of the recipe. However, when I come back here, and now I'm logged in as the printer, I can actually see not only the name, but the recipe. So all my efforts at keeping these ingredients secret have come to naught. The reason, as you may have observed, is that I actually have two roles here. I've been designated with the role of printer, but since everyone on the internet has the role of contestant, I do too. As the contestant, I have access to no records, but all fields. Or you might think of it, if this were a spreadsheet, I have access to no rows, but all the columns. However, as the printer, I have access to all the records, all the rows, and just a few of the columns. Well, QuickBase puts those two together and says, well, in one role you have access to all the rows, in another role you have access to all the columns. So together you have access to all the rows and all the columns. This clearly defeats the security that I was trying to enforce. So how are we going to keep the printer from seeing these secret pie recipes? The way we do it is by redefining the printer role. I'm going to give them their own dashboard here, which only shows them the names field. Very importantly, I'm going to click this button so they don't have the opportunity to go search for other fields. And then, just to keep them from getting into mischief, I'm going to hide as many options as I can on the dashboard. Now once I do that, I can go back here, and since they're seeing the dashboard I gave them, they're only seeing the names. And since they don't have the opportunity to customize a report, they can't right-click and see any other fields. Now, I wouldn't hide a nuclear bomb formula this way. It is possible for a determined hacker to get in and see that pie recipe, but I think for the typical printer and the typical pie recipe, this will be a safe solution. That concludes this QuickBase News Flash. I'm Eric Segal. If you have any follow-up questions, feel free to contact me at Data Collaborative. As always, happy clicking.